What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gentry and Sons, and welcome back to another trucking video. So you're here with me and my wife, Ashley. So this is my wife slash business partner slash
life manager.
She's pretty much what keeps me in one piece and headed in the straight, narrow. We're actually a really good team. We work out pretty good as a team. So, guys, today's video, before we get into it, don't forget, it is Black Friday. And we got Cyber Monday coming up. We have got a sale going on our website. If you want to go get some cool merch, cool hat, hoodie, just about anything you want. We got a lot of stuff on the website, gentryandsonstrucking.com. What code do we want to give them, honey? So they can go and give them a nice little discount.
BF23.
All right, so if you go on the website and use code BF23, you will be getting a nice little 30% off.
The entire order.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that's good. Wow, 30% off. So Black Friday and Cyber Monday, there will be a sale going on, 30% off. And we also have some good news coming. We have a giveaway coming. It will be starting next week. So you guys, hope you're hyped up for that. We are. It's our biggest giveaway yet. It's our second one, so I guess it would be our biggest one. Yeah, so.
Is it our second one? I thought it was our third.
No, the first one. No, this will be our third. So we actually gave a semi away to a subscriber, and then our last giveaway was an F350, or it was an F350. We converted to an F550, and this giveaway is going to be even bigger and even better. It's going to be a combo. So hope you guys are excited for that. So guys, today what we're going to be talking about is how to get a good truck driving job with a good company and get top pay and things you can do to get hired. If you ever went for a truck driving job, you didn't get it and wondering why you didn't get hired, things like that. But first, we're going to go interview a couple of our drivers that are in the yard and getting ready to leave out, and then we'll be right back. Thought you was a truck driver.
Not today.
You rear-ending it today?
Doesn't fit.
Oh, you've already got it in? Yep, that's going to have to, yoke's going to come off. Put your yoke on there.
Sling back there.
Yep.
Okay.
So Trip, we're making a video today, me and my wife, on how to nail the perfect trucking job and get the maximum amount of money that you can receive, which you're a very good example of it, because you go both ways.
Right.
So Trip here is an owner-operator, and he is also a company driver half the time when he wrecks his truck.
When I wreck my truck or break it.
Yeah.
You know.
So you got any
Like
good
this.
pointers for new drivers coming on to actually make real money, and what sort of company to go after?
First thing you have to do is be ready to run.
Yeah, that's the...
You gotta, you make money in trucking by rolling down the road. So, if you're coming in here and you're with a lot of demands, I want this day off and this, and I only want to do this and that. That's not the way trucking works. Sometimes your weekend will be Tuesday and Wednesday, not Saturday and Sunday. Just because, like that load right there is a perfect example. It's chicken, delivers tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Well, that means Jason's weekend will come
Tuesday.
maybe Monday or Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday. So you have to be, number one, be flexible and be ready to run.
A company owner loves somebody that's willing to...
Whether you're owner, operator, or company driver, be ready to run.
Yep.
And be willing to help. And I went down and got chicken Wednesday night when nobody would go.
Yep.
Well, I was here and it had to be picked up. Sometimes you have to do that.
Yep. And company owners love that. They don't like guys that come in and quit or have excuses. Or we like the guys that you can call and say, hey, can you do this? And you're, especially a company like us that ain't forced dispatch.
Right.
It's, hey, can you handle this for me?
Right.
And then when you say, yeah, shoot, yeah, I can, then that's the...
Make your expectations known. Make your expectations known as a driver, and make sure you understand
as owner
the owner's expectations.
Yep. The day I hired you, we went over both of our expectations, and
so make sure. And if you need to write it down, write it down.
And as far as being a good driver and making the company owner's life easier, there's a lot of perks that come along with that, especially with you wanting to advance your life and you wanting to make $300,000 a year. Or, you know, I mean, Tripp here, he can pretty much ask for anything he needs at this point, and he gets it.
All right.
I mean, we said rear ends right there.
That's right. Right there. They came off of right there. You had
Yep.
'em.
So I had
Got 'em
these
here.
spare rear ends for Rooster, and Tripp needed a set. Rooster don't need a set as of right now, and probably will next week after he gets these put in. But as of right now,
Can't have them back.
as of right now, I don't need them.
You don't
and
get
he
them back.
does. So, but Tripp's a good example of good. All of our drivers here are really good drivers, and we're going to explain to you guys today in this video. Me and my wife are going to sit down and kind of just go over what we expect as company owners and how it works and how to get top dollar as a paid driver. Like if you were to sell your trucks and you as a company driver here would make tip-top dollar. I mean, it's money you would never imagine to make in life.
And before I came here, I was at a company that was only owner-operators.
Correct.
But it's the same thing. The dispatcher knew that I would help.
Yeah.
Because they would have, we called them freeloads because they were like 200 miles that you didn't make any money. But it had to be done, and my next load would be to California.
Because you'd help them with that.
Because I helped him, he gave me the longest load there was.
Yep.
Which is where you make money.
Which
on
means
the long loads.
it means a lot in a company
So-
when it comes to.
You end up, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. That's how it should work. In anything, any job.
And you got your drivers that are just steering wheel holders. I mean, I don't mean them as that in a bad way or putting them down or any way, but you got drivers that are just here. They just want to get in the truck, go run some miles, come back home, get out of that truck, and go home.
And there are jobs like that.
Yep.
You're just going to have to find it.
And you're probably not going to make as much money.
You're not
And-
going to make.
Yep.
You're not going to make the money you see advertised.
Correct.
That's a good way to put it. You see these companies advertising these huge, you come here and you make $350,000 a year. Well, you can, but you're going to run 320 days
Yep.
a year.
You're going to stay out training people, teaming. I mean, you're going to be their slave.
It's just, and it's great. And it's what you make it, like any job.
Yeah. Oh, it is what you make it, yeah.
You know, the other thing I would tell anybody wanting to get into this, when you get out there, just be calm. There's a lot of crazy things going out, and people are going to flip you off, and they're going to cut you off. Just don't worry about it.
Yep. Just chill out, get in your lane, stay in your lane. I always tell people that. Stay in your lane. Be chill, stay in your lane.
You get somebody that wants to start brake checking you, slow down. If you have to, get off the exit for 5 minutes. What's 5 minutes?
Exactly.
Versus how long sitting there waiting for the police to come and write a ticket. And,
Yeah.
and your license.
Or 5 days in the
license.
hospital and having to find a new job and maybe ending your trucking career. I mean, there's
So-
so much more that can happen and destroy your life. And
Voice your expectations, have them voice their expectations, and see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, there's how many places to go?
there's a lot of right next door.
Right there.
Most of the time, I can't say that about now, but they used to be a place right.
Well,
I mean, it's gotten crazy over the last few months in trucking. But hey guys, that's Tripp. He's one of our. I was gonna say he's one of our top drivers, but all of our drivers here are pretty much top drivers, and Tripp does go above and beyond for me quite often. But he knows what to do to earn his way to better his life. So he's a really good example of.
and you guys reciprocate
Yeah, and
in that.
yep.
I get
Because
good
that's how I
runs.
started. The way you do with me is how I started with the company I started with, and it got to where I'm at today.
Right.
But if I had a company to work for like me from the beginning, I would still be there. I wouldn't.
You would have jumped into this craziness.
Yeah, Gentry and Sons wouldn't exist if they would have kept treating me like they did when I started. Gentry and Sons would not exist. It was amazing when I started. They got big, and then they went corporate.
And then you became a number.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's when my money started going away, and this started happening, and that started happening. Which don't have to happen, guys, if you just find a good place to go. But
another good point would be, and this is with almost any place, if you can get in a smaller place where you can actually communicate with the decision maker versus somebody that's just there to get a paycheck, that makes a difference.
Big difference. Yeah, no, because I mean that decision maker to get where he got, they're just there for a reason most of the time. So, and I will say that a lot of companies I know I know their owners, and they're good decision makers.
Well, and we you want to be able to talk to that guy as a driver.
Yep. I agree with that.
Not talk to a guy that has to talk to a guy that has to talk. It's
you're not going to make the big money having to do that. And there's no relationship there. I think a relationship when it comes to making money in a trucking company is being able to communicate with your people and know what your people are capable of and how they're representing you. And that's huge. Representation is huge when it comes to successful trucking company.
Back in you're not this old. Back in the 80s, they said dress for success.
Yep.
It was true.
It's
true. Clean trucks.
Yep.
Well, I'm not exactly clean, but clean when you show up.
When you go out on the road, you got a nice
clean,
shirt.
yes.
Yep.
Not too clean today.
So, all right. Well, I'll let you get back to it. All right, guys. So Jason get ready to leave. He got his truck all signed up. And so Jason's been with us for about
9 years.
9 years now. Back when I had just junk, the truck he first rolled out of the shop in was my old FLD.
Flat top.
Yep. And he come from a big company.
I did.
From making, what'd you make a week in a big company? Some crap money that...
About $200 a week.
And ran twice as hard as you do now.
Way more harder.
And so you went from 200 a week to what, 2,000 a week back then, probably?
Yeah. And now I'm doing 2,200 a week.
Running dedicated home.
Yep.
Pretty much every other night.
2 loads of chicken and 2 loads of backhaul puts me at like almost $2,300 a week.
This ain't a bad week. So, but Jason, he represents the company good. He works hard. He does a real good job, and he answers the phone when I call. And when I say I need you to do something, he does something.
No matter what time.
Yep. So you got those guys, and you got jobs that you don't. I mean, so Jason he's on our reefer side of things, and he does haul boats sometimes. But
Yeah, but I like the reefer. I like boats, but I like the reefer also.
so here we're flexible. We kind of do both. We do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Boats, reefers. As you can see, we want truck brought in.
Yep, towing. I mean, just really whatever you got to do. But that's part of getting in good income and good money, and being somebody for a company that really, those are the kind of drivers that companies are looking for, especially a small company where you can go right out of school 9 times out of 10 and make $2,000 or $3,000 a week. So we're gonna let Jason get on the road. He is headed out. He's actually getting ready to get a new truck. So the old Columbia, this is one of the trucks I bought new.
Well,
It's a glider. It was one of our first new Freightliner gliders, and he's been in it for years and years. It's
about 6 years.
It's got over 1 million miles in it now. So this thing's getting ready to, we're gonna completely refurb it. We may send it over to get a new cab and everything put on it, and they'll plumb down to the frame down to nothing and completely refurb these gliders. So we may do it here, we may send it off to have it done. But Jason's getting a new glider here probably the first of the year, about 3 or 4 weeks.
But if I don't like it, I want that one back.
Yeah, it's been a good truck.
I like that
That's
truck.
a money maker.
I like that truck. That's a good truck. A really good truck.
Guys, we put many miles on that thing. But so let's go down to the office. We're gonna go sit down with the wife, and we're gonna actually get down to the nitty gritty on what you can make, how you can make it, and the best way to make it. So guys, we've got 2 2014 Cascadias coming up for sale. We're getting them cleaned up right now and going through them, getting them maintenanced, and going through everything, making sure they're 100% DOT legal, getting them cleaned up. They're both good trucks. They got the ISX 15s in them. Great fleet trucks. There's nothing wrong with them. They're both under 1 million miles. But so we're trying to go to all kind of matching trucks for a fleet. So I think we're going to go with all Max this year and Coronado gliders. And of course, we'll keep our Columbias. So not all matching, but we're trying to get to the same kind of trucks, same kind of engines, same tires. That way maintenance is a lot easier. You ain't got a whole bunch of different inventory sitting around. That's good for a company. And we're going to do a company video too as well. But today we're going to focus on drivers. If you're interested in one of the Cascadias, they're going to be around $30,000. Like I said, they're good trucks. So they'll be up for sale. Oh, all right, guys, we're back. So that was Jason and Tripp, which they've been really, really good drivers for us. Jason's been here for 9 years through everything. Jason's been here through a lot, and
he came on early on, way before the transition, so he was with us before we were even Gentry's.
Yep. So we used to be partners in a company, and then we bought that company out, and then started Gentry and Sons. So he was with us way back in the day. And most of our drivers that we have are drivers that's been with us for the duration of since we started, our own company. So we've been very lucky in keeping drivers. We've got a handful that we haven't kept, and but we're still close to all. We've never had a driver leave as an enemy or somebody not happy or the circumstances didn't work out. So the way we do that, which we'll do a video, we're going to do a video for company owners, and we're going to do a video for you guys, but we're going to go for you guys first, because we are actually hiring right now. And if you go to Ashley at GentryandSonsTrucking.com and send her an email, and
I'll send you a nice application.
So, and guys, this is what we're going to talk about today. What we're looking for in drivers, and what will get you a good job, a good paying job, and what most companies are looking for. I've got a lot of friends that own trucking companies, and we're all looking for the same thing. We all pay the same way. Well, I ain't going to say we all pay the same way, but if most companies are like ours, and most of them I know is, in the smaller trucking companies, that's where you're going to make your most money. If you can get in with a small, good mom and pop trucking company that have good good morals and they want their drivers to succeed, because most of them are where you're at right now. So this is some of the things that my amazing wife here, some of the points. So right off the rip, when I call, or when you call for a job, or if I call you back after we get an application, or if you come and see us and you're looking for a job, some of the things that we're looking for and some things we're not looking for, I'll tell you right off the rip. If you come in here and say, I won't go here, I won't go there,
I won't drive this, I won't drive that. It's different if you can't drive it, but if you just won't.
Yeah. So if you're too good to come in here and jump in a nice Freightliner glider or an International or a Mac, if you just got to come in and you got to have a hood truck, a Peterbilt hood truck, and it's got to run 90 mile an hour, you might as well not even. And all companies that I know of, all my friends, all companies that have good drivers and that are in business for more than a year and that do good with their drivers and have good driver retention, that's the drivers that we're all not looking for. It's great that some guys will only drive a hood truck, and there's companies out there that'll probably hire you, but it's very few and far between, because a company owner and a truck owner takes pride in whatever they have, not just that Peterbilt 379 long hood or 389 long hood. We take pride in what we have. We work hard for these trucks that we have. We're not a big company that can just go out and lease 100 trucks and put you in a brand spanking new truck. So we know we have to pay you more, and we want to pay you more. We want you to make a good living, be here for a long time. We're investing in you as a driver, because it costs us money. 9 times out of 10 to put a driver on with our company, it costs us money. Unless you just got this clean, perfect driving record and you live here local, more than likely.
And you've been driving for a while.
Yep, without any accidents, wrecks, or tickets. More than likely, it's going to cost us money to put you on as a driver. So we're investing into you as a driver. Next thing, good attitude. If you come in here with a great attitude and team player and willing to go the whole 9 yards for the company and willing to work with other people and willing to be a team player, that is one of the biggest things that a company is looking for, especially a small company like ours, is a good attitude. Because one thing about a bad attitude, it puts everybody in a bad mood. And drivers talk. When you come to a small company like this, before the week's out on your first trip, you pretty much got everybody on speed dial. Everybody's talking to everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business. I mean, you guys talk. It ain't no secret. When I drove all the time and I was always out on the road, I spent 90% of my time on my headset talking to my friends, which are drivers or people that's in the company. That's your friends, that's your buddies. You know, y'all talk about what the company's doing, how it's doing, what load you got, and what happened, why'd you get that load, or did you hear about so-and-so, what he did, and he didn't get no load this week. And, you know,
How many did you get?
So good attitude goes a long way, because when somebody with a bad attitude comes in and somebody that puts things down and has a bad attitude, just, you know,
Negative Nancy.
a negative person just taints the whole entire company. It just does. It will, and I've seen it so many times. Good Lord, I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with a driver like, hey man, you got to chill out. Quit telling people that the loads are drying up and next week things are going to be a disaster and nuclear bombs coming, because once that gets out into your company, it goes through the whole company. And I've seen it so many times over the years. It's crazy. And like, if I want something to get out, there's certain drivers you go to and tell them this, like, hey, this has got to happen, and let's keep it a secret. Nobody knows about it yet.
Start of the communication tree.
Yeah, but the start of the communication tree. By the end of the day, everybody knows. And, and that's usually when things will pick up or phone will start ringing, texts like, what you doing, boss? How you doing, boss? Things like that. It cracks me up every time. But I love my guys. I love every one of them. Mm-hmm. And it's been over the last 10 years that it's been like that. And it's not just here, it's everywhere. Drivers talk. There's going to be times where
gossip is just
it's just part of it.
Maybe that's just the life way.
But having a good attitude will get you a long way in a company and with the drivers and getting you loads and getting you good miles and all that good stuff. All right. Dependability.
These are in no order either. So we're not doing it from most important to least important.
Right.
Just a little random.
So dependability is another good one. A dependable driver is worth his weight in gold.
Absolutely.
Like right now, like the kind of freight we haul, some of our freight, you don't have to be real on time every single time. Most of the time with our freight, it's
pretty flexible.
Very, very flexible because we deal with dealerships and things like that. But on the reefer side of things and the RGN side of things and the
punctuality is key.
Yep. Our oversized stuff, that's a big one. Because 9 times out of 10, you've got to order a crane. And
that requires appointment time, just like you wouldn't want to be late to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, and usually these cranes are like $500 an hour with a 2 or 3 hour minimum. So if they're sitting there at $500 an hour and you're 2 or 3 hours late, you're going to add up time, and that customer is going to be very upset because somebody has to pay it. And usually that's when they call me and say, hey, your driver's late. We got an extra $500,000 in this crane. What do you want to do? Luckily, it's only happened one time.
Once.
And so we've been very, very lucky with that. We've got good, dependable drivers here. And that's why our drivers make the kind of money that they make. I mean, I can tell you right now, we've got some drivers that make $5,000, $6,000 a week. We've got some drivers that make $1,000 a week. We've got drivers that make $1,500 a week. We've got drivers that make $3,000 a week. And the ones that have the good attitudes are very flexible. dependable, those are the guys that are making anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 a week, and they're willing to haul whatever we need hauled.
And whatever we need them to haul it in.
Exactly. So safety score, that's a big.
Safety's huge.
It is.
It's huge.
That's your department there. Holy crap.
Yep, it is.
So, what do you do for a driver that gets a good level 1 inspection?
Level 1's $1,000. They get $1,000 for those good inspections.
So, and then a level 2, I think we do 500, and then level 3 is 250.
250.
So, if you get a good level 1 inspection, which is something you're going to get anyways,
Right.
as long as you have a good attitude with the DOT officer, you do your pre-trip and your post-trip every day.
Please do your pre-trip and post-trip.
Because guys, that right there is
paperwork is key.
It is. So your pre-trip and post-trip helps with, if you got a light out, you can pull into a truck stop and get a light and get it fixed. If you got a tire that's low, which will get you put out of service.
Out of service.
And you get put out of service, now that you want to get the boss mad at you, get put out of service over a low tire. Something that you could have prevented, especially if it's something you could have caught in your pre-trip. You go out, go kick your tires, take a tire pressure gauge, and most of our trailers these days have tire monitor systems on them. They got a light on the front of them that tells you, hey, you got a low tire. If you're too lazy to look in the mirror and see that you got a low tire before you pull into a scale house, you probably don't need to even be driving that truck down the road. But pre-trip inspection, get out, look around your truck, check your lights, check your tires, check for wheel seals.
Part of the
leaking.
job description.
It is the job description. So when you go to school, they teach you pre-trip and post-trip.
I think it's like a whole week, isn't it? Devoted to just learning your truck and
Yeah.
pre-tripping and post-tripping.
And
They
so,
wouldn't do that if it wasn't critical.
and that knows that you're safe too. So if you go down the road and you kill somebody, that person's going to come after the company for one, and then they're going to come after you. They're going to try to sue you. So having a good, safe truck, and a truck that, especially if you work for a small company or a big company, if your truck is not safe to go down the road, if you got things that's wrong with it, don't drive it. You pull it into that lot and you say it ain't going nowhere until this is fixed. And me as a company owner, I promise you, if they're anything like me, I will agree 100%. I fly off mad if a driver pulls out of this yard with a truck that should not have left, something that got overlooked or something that didn't get turned in because of no post-trip, or one of the guys missed it in the shop, or if they knew about it. And
Those
let it go
better
out of
be
here.
in every single load folder.
Yep. I've had our guys overlook stuff in the shop or knew about something in the past, because those guys aren't here anymore, and just let it go out. Just let it go out with an issue that could have got somebody hurt or killed, or that's the worst thing that could have happened. But at the same time, it could have hurt our safety score. Could have hurt, pulled us into a scale and got us put out of service. That is something that you have to be on top of. And do not be scared to speak up. Go to your owner, go to your safety manager, your dispatcher, and say, hey, this truck is not safe to go down the road. This tire needs new tires on it. The tread ain't good enough. I promise you, if you lose that job over that right there, and it's really a safety issue, you didn't need to be at that company anyway.
Absolutely.
There's a better place out there for you. So go in there, stand up for yourself, and make sure that you're heard. Because guys, your safety is just as important as anybody else's, and that truck not being safe is, it's your responsibility.
They want to keep you safe and everybody else's babies and families safe.
Yep. Been times where me as a company owner, back in the day, back when we couldn't afford to put new tires on a truck, I would have to skim. I would have to go buy used tires and just hope and pray they'd make an extra trip or two. And I look back and I'm sick at myself to know that I was that company owner. There's times I sent a truck out that shouldn't have went out. Now never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we take safety very serious in our trucks and our maintenance, just because it will end your company so fast. DOT knows who's running a clean ship and who ain't, and you better run a clean ship. So, but you as a driver though, keep up with your safety, keep up with
Speeding, follow the laws of the road.
Yep, that's another thing. Guys, we can see what you're doing right here. On this computer, I can pull up any of my drivers and then see their driving score for the week.
Hard brakes, hard turns, speeding,
idle
time,
riding somebody's bumper, speeding in construction, any of it.
taking non-truck routes.
Yep. Any of that stuff we can go on anytime. If we can as a small company, imagine what a bigger company can do. I'm sure they can read way more than we can.
Definitely.
So another thing that we're incorporating into our company, and now that we're able to, is safety bonuses. So like we're going to do like either a weekly
or monthly. I don't know which one yet, but it's definitely going to be a good driver incentive program type of ordeal.
So you keep your truck clean.
Cleanliness.
Yep, that's a big one. Just keep your truck clean. You're safe. You run the speed limit. Cause guys,
your loads get there on time and as they're supposed to be, like no damage and stuff like that.
The speeding thing is one thing I really, really want to touch on. So we like to keep our trucks, like our trucks are governed at 75. There's no point going faster than 75 mile an hour in a semi truck. I know there's a lot of guys out here, think they're Mr. Outlaw, and for those guys, go buy your own truck. Go get your own authority, put your name on the side of that truck.
Absolutely. You can have all the risk along with it.
Because it's one thing that
it's not worth it.
Us as company owners, we're not hiring a guy that comes in here that's going to speed everywhere he goes. We want guys that are going to run the speed limit, and we leave the trucks at 75 because you're going to run out west and you're going to run 75 mile an hour speed limits. We want you to be able to flow with traffic.
Right.
And once you get empty and you got to get back home, we know that truck can go, but use it in places that's supposed to be used. Don't be out here running 75 mile an hour in a 60 mile an hour zone
or a construction zone of like 30.
Yep. Oh yeah, we had that happen.
We did.
So we want to be able to keep our trucks turned up, and we want our drivers to be happy, and having a 75 mile an hour truck is something you don't have much anymore in the trucking industry. But you got to use it right. You got to use it the correct way, and if you're out here flat-footing that thing all the time at 75 mile an hour, me as a company owner is going to take you out of that truck. That's a risk. To me, that is a huge risk, and that risks the rest of my drivers. It risks the rest of my drivers' families. It risks my family. It risks the name on the side of the truck. So those are the kind of drivers companies aren't wanting. They don't want that. They do not want a driver. Now, there's some out there that's going to last a year or two and be, put out of service over their safety score. The insurance company's not going to take them anymore.
It's going to be so high you can't afford it.
Yeah, insurance would be just ridiculous. Yeah. Now, there is companies out there that push their trucks like that, but this isn't one of them. And one that's going to treat you good and you're going to have a good long career at and make good salary and good pay. Don't go in there thinking, oh yeah, I want a good fast truck. It's got to have a hood. It's got to have this. Need 700 horsepower. Because I'm going to be like, all right, buddy, I'll call you later. And you'll probably never get the call.
Probably won't even get an application for me.
Cleanliness, we went over that. Paperwork.
You need to do paperwork because it ties in with the whole safety portion of the post-trip, pre-trips. Put it in your envelopes. That should be done after every load. Because these office people do a lot more than you think they do.
So I'll tell you right now, the lifeline of this trucking company is this lady right here and Jade. Jade is we take care of Jade. Jade is our lifeline.
She is a lifeline.
Because she's in there when she's dealing with you drivers, for one. She's in there putting in all the loads, all the paperwork, all the state mileages. She keeps up with IFTA. She keeps up with all this stuff, all of your stuff, all your drug tests. Everything to keep you legal and keep you safe out on the road and keep you making money. That's what Jade's doing. And there's a lot of Jades out there in this world in the trucking company. And I promise you, any trucking company that's got a Jade is taking very good care of her. And if she's not happy with a driver,
Jade better be respected. Like
exactly.
That she is it's top tier in here. Like you have to treat her as special as she is, because without her, you're not getting paid for starters.
Yep. And all that stuff she keeps up with, you wouldn't believe it. So if it's just happening with you, imagine with how many other drivers it's happening with. And if she has to go hunting drivers,
chasing you down,
asking for paperwork, asking for state mileage,
especially more than once.
Yep, I just had an instance with her 2 days ago. She come to me, and she don't ever come to me.
No.
I mean, it takes
Jade
a lot.
is no complainer. She
Yeah.
takes everything and she handles it, but
And she's usually really good with handling a driver.
Absolutely.
But she came to me the other day, and she said, "Hey," she's like, "we have to do something about this driver. Like, I'm spending 3 or 4 hours, and a Jade usually makes anywhere from $20 to $30 an hour. If you're paying that person in the office to have to chase down a driver and won't turn in the paperwork, that's costing the company money. It's costing her time, which they don't have a lot of time. You would not believe the amount of paperwork that comes along with us just having 10, 11 drivers.
Yeah.
It's insane what her and Jade have to do to try to keep this company afloat every week. Guys, you think our jobs are hard? I'm just seeing them in the office, and I used to be one of those guys.
Oh yeah, you were.
That would not turn his
Prime
paperwork
example.
in, didn't turn my logs in. You'd have to chase me down to get my invoices or my BLLs to turn in so the company can get paid. I was one of those guys when I first started, and I feel so bad for being that guy. Like, I should have been fired. I should have been. Definitely, you should have fired me.
Honey, you wouldn't have been hired. I love you, but you wouldn't have been hired.
And I'm still not the best with paperwork, but I don't put myself in a situation to where I have to be that person turning in paperwork. The loads that I do now is just pretty much here and there.
And I mean, does it matter who's writing on the envelope as long as it's getting written? Like, write neat, write it to her mileage. Like, for instance, that driver that's not turning paperwork in, he's still expecting to get paid, but she's having to backtrack all his mileage. She either doesn't have any for him, or she can't read it.
Right. So
If it still has to be done, whether you turn it in or not.
Yep. So that's our fuel tax. That's stuff that these states are wanting paid for every
That's
quarter.
a tax, and you're gonna tell me the government ain't coming after you for a tax?
Yeah. So we got to keep that stuff in
Yes.
line. So we got to know every mile that you drive in every state.
Every single mile that you drive in every state, every single gallon of fuel you use in that state.
Yep. And then communication. So that's, if you want to come here and get top dollar, you got to be able to communicate. And then at the same time, there's no communication. So we want you to communicate with your dispatcher. We want you to communicate with turning in your paperwork and your loads.
Yes.
And talk to the customers.
With respect and...
Yeah, oh, definitely. You got to be respectful. And,
don't come at everybody with an attitude.
Yep, represent the company.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need you to represent the company well. It's your name too. This is your company. When I hire a driver in here, that's what's different. I think that's why we keep good drivers and keep them for a very long time. So we pay our drivers like they're owner-operators, and we also pay our drivers, or we take care of our drivers like they're owner-operators. So they get to feel like they're an owner-operator here. When you're here for a year, you get to pick out what truck you want, how you want it built. If you're here for a year, we know how good of a driver you are. We're going to invest into you. If we think you're going to be here for a long, long time, we're going to invest the money, even if it means going out and buying you a $50,000, $60,000 truck the way you want it, or paint a truck for you. I mean, look at Dewey. Dewey wanted that Coronado. I could have sold that Coronado 30 times over at this point in time, and I offered him a brand spanking new truck with a flat screen in it, and nope, that's the last truck I'll ever drive. That's the last truck I want to be in. I want to be the last driver that truck ever gets. He loves that Coronado, so that's why I went and bought a $30,000 motor and put in that $10,000 truck. And because he loves that truck, and that's what he wanted. So we invested into it. We invested the money into it. We ended up putting like $40,000 or $50,000 in that truck to get it all up in tip-top shape. We also just spent another $5,000 on that truck, getting a new bumper for it. We're completely uplifting the truck because he loves that truck. He calls it Yoda. It's off of Darth Vader or something. I don't know. Star Wars. Yeah, so that's what he calls it, Yoda. The Green Coronado's name is Yoda, for those of you that didn't know. But Dewey turned out a brand new truck for Yoda, which is a glider, pre-log, I get it. But once you're here a year, and we know you're going to be representing the company well and take care of the company and things like that, and you're not going to risk everybody else's jobs.
And safety.
Yep. Then you get to pick out a truck But if you want to make $100,000 plus a year, these are the things that you have to do. If you want to make that $3,000 a week, or the $2,000 a week, or the $1,500, depends on how you want to run. And if you communicate up front, like me and Tripp were talking about earlier, if you say up front how you want to run, how your family life is, how your home
right, that's one thing to have special conditions in which,
Yeah, but we need to, up front say, hey, I've got a daughter that's sick I need to be off for this, I need to be off for that.
We are very, very family oriented. Our drivers usually meet all their family needs, as many as we can possibly make happen.
And another thing that will get you in a good top position and top pay is, like I was saying, communication. So I don't want to have to call you, especially me. I'm a big-hearted person. And like, if I feel like I'm going to call you and you're going to be upset because you got to leave, or you're going to have an excuse why you can't leave, I'm not going to call you. We like drivers that call in themselves, or we like drivers that we can just have a load sitting there. We know when they come in, hey, they're going to need to be off for a few days with their family, and then this is the load that they're going out on. I don't like having to call you and saying, hey, can you
babysit your clock? Like, what loads you have, where they got to go, when you need to leave, when you need to be there. It's just a part of your responsibility. We shouldn't have to, babysit.
Well, we don't. So right there, it shouldn't have to be something that, if you're that kind of driver where we got to call, like she said, if we got to babysit you and call you and say, hey, you need to leave right now, hey, you need to go, hey, you need to go, that's not a good combination. That is not a good driver. That is not a driver that a company's going to stick their neck out for and do all these things for and pay them top dollar.
Time's already limited, and that is just
it's aggravating.
Time-consuming.
So one of my biggest things is when I call a driver and know that I'm going to have to beg them to go. When I call you and say, hey, I need you to go do this, well, I really need to do this. Can you get somebody else? I really need to do that. Guys, we've got insurance to pay. We've got fuel to pay for. Some companies have truck payments to pay. And then companies like ours, we rebuild trucks from the ground up. And 9 times out of 10, if you've been with us for a while, you've got a very nice truck that we've got for you. And that truck has to work. And if we've got drivers out here that's wanting to work or begging to work, it's hard to let a truck sit there when you got another driver just begging to go. And then you got a driver you got to call, and they got 10,000 excuses why they can't go or don't want to go.
Then they wonder why they have no loads at the next few weeks.
Yeah. So, and a good thing to look out for with a company, if you get put on a 9 times out of 10, they won't punish you. The punishment that you'll get is you won't get a load that next week, or they'll starve you out, and that's not something we like to do. It's horrible to do that to somebody. I wouldn't want it done to me, but I'm the type of driver that I'm a go-getter. If I got a load, you don't have to call me for a load. I'm gonna be calling you and be like, hey, what's next? What do you got next? Man, that ain't enough.
Blowing somebody up for some loads.
That ain't enough loads. That ain't enough miles. I want to go. Can I get some more miles? Can I get some more? I'm that kind of driver. But anywhere I've ever been, leased on to, or even when I worked at Midwest, I was on the top. Me, Dewey, and Dad, they come up there right behind me. I used to work for MDT in Michigan before they went all corporate. And, man, I'll tell you what, I'd put 5,000-6,000 miles a week in there every single week. She hated it, but it got us where we're at today.
It did.
I worked my butt off. But you know what? I called in one day after I put my time in there, and I worked my butt off for 6 months. I called in. I said, Dave, I want that white Peterbilt, that white and red Peterbilt sitting outside. Okay. I said, how much? And he told me the price. It was a really fair price. I said, this is what I can afford to pay every week. When can I get it? He said, go ahead and put your stuff in it now. Go ahead. You'll start, your next paycheck will reflect you as an owner-operator. And that's how it started. And I seen him tell a lot of people, no, you ain't the type of person that needs a truck, and you're not, he didn't want to deal with having to chase that person down or the payments on that person. And
they probably didn't make enough that week to cover the payments.
Exactly. And then Dewey, you want to be an owner-operator? Dave calls me. He says, he runs really hard. What do you think? I said, I think he'll be just fine. And as long as we give him a truck that You know, Dewey's not the top. He don't like to get out and work on his truck. You know, he will. He'll change a headlight bulb and, you know, he'll adjust his brakes and stuff like that. But further than that, Dewey wants to drive. He wants to bring his truck in, get it fixed, and go out. Now, he will put
He
some...
is a dependable driver.
Very dependable. He's a very, very top driver here. And that's...
top-notch safety, top-notch paperwork. He's the ideal driver.
He is.
If we ever have drivers with issues, he's the driver I send them to. I'm like, talk to this guy. He will get you on the straight and narrow. He is a great trainer, too. He's really good with the new drivers.
He is. And these guys that are with us, the way I look at it is the more successful we are, the more successful they're going to be. So Dewey, my dad, there's some other drivers here. You know, some guys don't like being on YouTube, so I ain't going to say all their names. But there's a lot of them here that will get a piece of this place. You know, I expect if they stay here till we retire or till we make it to where we want to be, where we're big and millionaires, they're going to get new trucks. They're going to get to retire good. They're going to get to, you know, we've got a plan for all those drivers to make it really, really well. And most companies are like that. But we want our drivers to make as much money as possible, just as much money as we do. If you're that kind of driver, you're going to get a good job. And the places that you want to look for is a mom and pop place. Guys with 10, 15, 20 trucks. Now I will say Troy Massey, he's got a lot of trucks. He's got like 300 trucks. But Troy is really good with his drivers. You know, he's like a one of a million kind of company when it comes to big companies. So a company like Troy Massey, my buddy Josh, he owns Southeastern Freight. He's really good with his drivers. He gives them the trucks that they want. He's like me, but a lot more trucks than I have. I think he's got like 20-some trucks. So he's really good with his drivers. We're growing into that. We're planning on getting back up to the 20, 25 mark within the next year. So we're going to be putting on more drivers. We're teaming up with my buddy Josh. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of good job opportunities coming out of Gentry and Sons here pretty quickly. We're already starting to take on drivers. We're taking on new freight. We're taking on more boats. We're trying to be better than our competitors. So we're number one at these manufacturers. With the way the trucking industry is right now, everybody's kind of undercutting everybody. So the way we're keeping freight is our service is top notch. When you give top notch service and you have top notch drivers, then you get the freight. That's all there is to it. You've got to be the best. And the only way you're going to be the best is pay the best, treat your drivers the best, you know, have the best equipment, treat the customers. Once you get the load and you go to the customers, you got to treat them the best. You got to have good representation, which comes to you guys, which you get paid top dollar. That's the kind of drivers.
It's like a little cycle. You're a good driver. Your company treats you good. The company treats you good because you're a good driver. You know, it all holds hands.
It does. So whether it's with us or with another company, and you know, like I said, you got companies like Troy's, and if I was a new driver looking just come out of school, there's no way in heck I would go out and work for Swift or any of these big companies. Guys, you can get around that. I did it myself. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of legwork, but you go looking, get on these forums on Facebook. You'll see what companies are good companies and small trucking companies. Usually, if anywhere from 10 to 25 trucks, those are the companies you want to go after. You go in there with all these things we just talked about. Good attitudes, dependability, a good safety score. You know, talk about that. Tell them, hey, I'm planning on working hard, giving you a good safety. I'm going to do my pre-trip, my post-trip. You touch on those things when you go in for that job.
It all boils down to just being a good human.
Yeah. I promise you're going to walk out of there with 55 cents a mile or more. And you're going to make good daggone money because it's easy to do it. You go in there, Steve, like I'll give you Steve for example. Steve come here. The way I met Steve is he come put an air conditioner in my house. He pulled up in my driveway, and two of these drivers actually, Steve and Tripp, they both come up into my driveway.
Yeah.
And
they did.
they said, can I have an opportunity to work for you? I will do whatever it takes Steve didn't even have a driver's license. He said, I will start at the bottom. I'll start in the shop. I'll start by sweeping floors, cleaning your toilets. I don't care what it takes, but if you will give me an opportunity to come and work for you, I will get my CDLs. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, God, that's a lot of work, I don't know. And, I was like, well, let me think about it. And the next day he shows up in that cab over. And my house had just flooded, and we needed an air conditioner put in.
Yep.
All right. So he brings the cab over up. I check it out and all that. That's all cool. Well, by gosh, if the next day he didn't show up with a brand spanking new air conditioner, ductwork, a guy to put it all in with, and before I got ready to go to work, they had put a whole new AC system in my house, and he charged me his price to do it. And he said, now, I'm not asking for a handout. I'm willing to work for it. Can I come to work for you? So I put him in a hot shot truck, and then eventually leased his hot shot truck on as an owner-operator. And then once that gig kind of run out, I said, hey, it's time to get your CDL. And now he's been in a truck for a year, and we're coming up on time now to where it's not going to...
And him and his wife, they both did. And they're a good team.
I think we got about 6 more months with both of them on their CDL. Right now, so thing about bringing on a new driver with not 2 years experience on their license is we have to pay... Our insurance company puts them on a probation period, and usually, you got to pay to put them on there. And sometimes it's
a hefty lump sum. Like, you've got to just really know these people.
Yeah, and when I seen that he was willing to put in the time, and if he was willing to do all that, I knew he was going to make me money. So I invested into him, and I knew, once that time period runs out, that's when we're going to make our profits. That's when we're going to make our money. And that time period's getting ready to run out. I think we got another 3 or 4 months with him, and he's off probation. And then him and his wife both. Even his wife went and got her CDL, and they've ran team for us for over a year. And then they did the hot shots for probably a year.
Yeah.
So, Steve's, that's a prime good example. You guys have seen it from the beginning with him. Dude works hard. He does. I have no, he's got his quirks. All drivers do. Everybody's got their own little personal thing, and us as owners, we have to know that. We have to work with that. One person's going to have a bad attitude. One person's going to have a very, everybody's got different personalities, and a good company owner.
Everybody's their own individual.
Yeah, a good company owner will see past that and work with it, and that's how you create a good company. And it's amazing how all the drivers work together when you got a good company and good positive people. If you got that one negative person, though, it will bring the whole company down. Before we finish this video off, cleanliness, that's my biggest... How mad do I get over cleanliness?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I've got a dedicated guy here to wash our trucks. If you can't come in here and bring your truck in for the weekend for maintenance and to have your truck washed... Now, that's one thing I get upset over. I cannot stand to open the door of your truck, pull it in the shop, and see dirt all over the floor.
Bottles just pouring out.
Oh my gosh, I can't handle it.
Garbage all over the dash.
I like a clean truck.
Yes.
I think your truck should represent you and your company.
Absolutely.
And when a DOT officer opens your door and dust hits him in the face, now that right there makes me so... And I had that happen once. Literally... got a violation over a driver opening his door, and the wind went through and the dust hit the police officer in the face, and he was livid. I talked to him on the phone. He said, this is bullcrap. He said, if your drivers can't keep their trucks cleaner than that, he said, how do you expect them to keep... Are they even doing pre-trips? I'm like, I guess, I hope so. I said, they say they are. It says it on their logs. And he said, well, I don't think he did a pre-trip this morning. And he got wrote up for this, and this, and he said he wouldn't have. If I would have felt like he'd done a pre-trip, I wouldn't have wrote him up for those 3 things. I let him pass. So since then, I've been a stickler about keeping our trucks clean.
I love it.
Do you?
Makes me happy.
I got to the point where I have cleaning kits. I will put you a cleaning kit together to wipe your floor and your dash down. You got an air blower. At the end of the day, blow your truck out. I mean, a company owner will love you if you pull into the yard and that truck's nice, clean, and shiny inside, and it smells good. And, you know, you got the little towel down, keeping your floor clean, or if you take your shoes off. And my 389, that
you
truck.
can see out the windows.
Yep, that 389. If it comes in here dirty, I told the driver when he got in it, I said, if that truck comes in here dirty, you'll come out of it. I said, that's a $200,000 truck, and that truck will last me for years to come. It will not be dirty, and I will stick to that. I mean, and that's me as a company owner. So I'm sure there's other company owners out there like that. But
that's
guys,
why I link the cleanliness to the safety.
You know, you got to keep your trucks clean, and that will get you a nice truck. If I promise you, a driver that comes in here with a clean truck that don't run the crap out of it and don't speed, and that thing's spotless all the time, you're getting you a hood truck. If that's what you want, that's what you're getting. And I will have no problem giving you that truck if I see that's how you're going to treat my trucks, because I love it. Like, you'll catch me out there talking to the trucks. They have personalities. Those trucks to me all have their own heart. They all have their own personality. And I love all I don't care if it's the biggest piece of crap on the road. To me, it's my baby. It is the love of my life, and every one of them I work my butt off to get. And I want those trucks treated like they're somebody. They might be old, but they work their butts off to get where they're at in life. If they made it here, more than likely they put their miles in, because I can't afford them if they got low miles. So more than likely, they worked hard and got to get here. And I love those trucks. I love talking to my trucks. I like that they have a personality, and I don't just throw them away or hurt them or send them to the scrap yard. You know, I try to just get all the lives I can out of them, even if they become a parts truck and they fix up another one later on.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It is. I love trucks. There's no doubt about it. I'm obsessed with them, and I don't see myself ever stopping with what I do. And I want to be able to put drivers in them that deserve them, and I want them to deserve the drivers that they're getting. And I want to be able to upgrade these trucks and make them nicer and fix them up and pull them in the shop and repaint them and put new floors in them and new motors. And, you know, and I want the kind of drivers that want that love trucks like I do. You know, you're in it to win it. You're in it to make money. But at the same time, you're in it because you just love trucks. And
it's a passion for you.
It is. So, guys, go get your money. Know your worth. Know what you're getting into.
Be a good human.
Yep, that's the biggest thing right there. Be a good human and willing to work for it, and work your way to the top, and you'll make it. But we wanted to kind of give you guys some pointers, tell you what we're looking for, and I feel like that'll help you out in the real world with getting your CDL, or if you got your CDL and you've got good experience. You know, don't go in there cocky. Right now, I mean, drivers have got spoiled over the last 2 years. It's been great for drivers the last 2 years. You made the calls. Over the last couple of years, drivers made the calls. This is what I got to have. This is what I want for money. And you probably got it. But that has changed now. There's drivers out there, really good drivers, that ain't with that big high dollar paying job anymore, that big hood truck, because they couldn't afford the payments on it anymore. And now they're looking for jobs and having to take low pay. So you're competing against them guys now that are willing to come in here and having to start from ground zero again and work their way back up in a company.
And let me tell you, them guys can eat. They're out to get it.
Hell yeah, they are. They are. And excuse my language, but they are. They're hustlers. And they
know how to make it work, and they know how to get back up there. They did it once before.
So those guys you're competing against. So don't come in there spoiled saying, oh, I got to have this, you got to have that. Come in here and say, can I make good money? This is what I'm willing to do for you. And, hey, if I prove myself, can I have me a hood truck? Now, that right there would get all my respect.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get all the money. So, guys, that's going to finish off today's video. Please go check out the website. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We're trying to get this channel built up, get an algorithm. And, of course, we love you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.